Well, I think it would be a tremendous mistake to ever underestimate the deep enmity that the political establishment has for Donald Trump. Their resentment over his stunning come-from-behind and improbable victory in the 2016 election, or their resolve to remove him because he threatens their globalist policies. He threatens their efforts to undermine American sovereignty, American exceptionalism, American strength, as they try to move us to one world government. He is a one-man obstacle to the downward spiral in American strength that has been true under both parties. So I think he is opposed by a powerful two-party duopoly of elites who did not support his election. They were counting heavily on the entire fabrication of Russian collusion to remove Donald Trump. Oh, the Russians helped elect him. Now that we've spent multi-millions of dollars in both FBI and special counsel investigation, not to mention House and Senate investigations, and they have turned up not a scintilla of real evidence that that is the case, taking innocuous things like a meeting with Donald Trump Jr. and a Russian lawyer who now appears to have been a setup, an entrapment, but a meeting that is innocuous, meaningless, no underlining action coming out of that. But they hype that into something that it is not. Treason, nothing treasonous about that, nothing improper about it, nothing unusual about it. In fact, if you're running a presidential campaign, and I've run 10 of them, starting with Richard Nixon through Ronald Reagan, my hero Bob Dole, all the way to Donald J. Trump, and someone comes to you, someone you know, and says they have information that is damaging and verifiable about your opponent, well, it would be malpractice for you not to meet with them. Now that the entire claim of Russian collusion has collapsed and found to be empty and fraudulent, well, the political establishment moves on to Plan B. Plan B is a claim that Donald Trump is mentally unstable, that he's not fit to be president, that he's crazy, non compos mentis, that he's not highly intelligent to begin with. I predicted this back in March on InfoWars, where I'm a regular correspondent. And indeed, we have seen this entire narrative pick up speed. It starts with Don Lemon, who, if anybody has nerve, talking about not being terribly bright, but Senator Robert Corker, former congressman, now MSNBC talking head Joe Scarborough, they hope to whip this narrative into a fever pitch by the middle of 2018. Oh, the president's crazy. Well, the president's crazy like a fox. We have record unemployment, the stock market at record levels, African-American unemployment literally at the all-time low since we've been keeping track of it, a solid conservative on the Supreme Court, ISIS, which is an unfortunate hangover from the interventionist foreign policies of the Bushes, the Clintons, and the Obamas, which is left for Donald Trump, unfortunately, to clean up, but ISIS on the run, a recognition that Islamic terrorists are not our friends, that Islam is not a peaceful religion, and that there are people around the globe who mean us harm. At the same time, a president who's not interested in sending American troops, American men and women off to to fight foreign wars where our inherent national interest is just not clear. So he so completely threatens the globalist agenda that they are now going to resort to this effort. Now, the idea is to build this backdrop of hysteria and then try to execute a 25th Amendment strategy. The 25th Amendment to the Constitution holds that if a majority of the cabinet and the vice president agree that the president is no longer mentally capable or physically capable of discharging his or her duties, that they are removed and the vice president becomes president. The president can appeal this decision to a House of Representatives vote, the U.S. House of Representatives currently being under control of the globalist Paul Ryan. Many believe that Ryan has already made a secret deal with Vice President Mike Pence to become his vice president in a late 2018 takedown of the president. Now I know, because President Trump ended 2017 on such a high with the passage of the single greatest tax cut in American history, a tax cut that I believe will turbocharge our economy, that this will sound far-fetched, some kind of a conspiracy theory. Well, there is no bigger conspiracy theory than the Russians elected Donald Trump. There's the biggest conspiracy theory of them all. Or that the president is mentally unstable. That's a conspiracy theory also. But mark my words, the left in both parties, the elites, working with their handmaidens, the pearl clutchers in the mainstream media, will whip the country into a frenzy to try to create the backdrop for a 25th Amendment removal. Now you come down to hard vote counting. Vote counting is what I've done most of my life. Unfortunately, I think inadvertently and on the basis of some bad advice, the president has stocked his cabinet and his administration with people who are not loyal to him, are not loyal to his nationalist agenda, and will, when the chips are down, when the fast bullets fly, vote to undermine him. I speak of Secretary of State Tillerson, who was recommended for that job by Condoleezza Rice, or UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, and others of that ilk who I do not trust to stand with the president. Again, you cannot ever underestimate the deep resolve of the political establishment to remove this president. And the more he pushes America's interests at home and abroad, the more resolved they are to remove him.